James, this Saturday is Christmas, and it is the most magical time of the year. This is the part where you ask me why.
Well, why, Nancy?
I'm glad you asked. Because this is a time where we see lights sparkling, Christmas trees up with the sparkly lights and everything. But it really is the air of belief comes alive. Belief in ourselves, belief in something greater than ourselves. It's just the air of belief. You know, we see people this time of year being more giving, being kinder, right? Mm-hmm. It all comes from belief. When we go back to the Christmas story, what is the most magical part of the whole thing is the North Star, the star shining. Okay, we have wise men who travel from way afar and they're following that star. We have shepherd boy who follows that star. We have all these people who see the star in the sky and they follow the star. Why do they follow the star? Because they believe that there's something greater than themselves waiting where that star is at. How does that relate to ourselves? When we follow our star, which is our purpose, our true north, we become a version of ourselves that we never knew existed, but we always believe. And this time of year really sparks. There's like something within us that it lights and it sparks and it really brings across the magic, which is inside of us, which is belief. There's so much power when we believe. And when we follow that star, because we believe, that's the only thing that they knew. They didn't have evidence, right? They followed on a belief that there was something greater than themselves.
Yeah, they left everything, got out of the norm. Mm-hmm. The normal day-to-day.
Yes.
And was willing to give up everything to follow that star.
Exactly.
And the major thing is they released expectations.
They did.
They got rid of human expectations.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly true. And see, that's the thing that it can be when we look at the lights and we look at all this, you know, we feel the magic in the air, right? But then what if we don't? What if we don't feel that magic in the air? What if we don't? What if this is the most stressful time of the year? Because we leave our norm and we run out to shops and we basically are constantly looking, spend all kinds of time to look for that perfect gift.
Now we're replacing it with our expectations. Exactly. We're replacing the magic with the expectations.
Exactly.
Our personal expectations.
Exactly.
Our selfish expectations.
Okay. Help me understand that, James.
Well, when I think of selfishness, I think of control. Mm-hmm. We're trying to control the magic for our own benefit, not outside of ourselves. Again, why do we buy the perfect gift? Because we want to make sure that person isn't disappointed with us.
Or, yes, exactly, disappointed. Or it could also be we're looking for that perfect gift because maybe this is the gift that's going to make this person love me.
Yeah. So it's self-centered would be a better word. We start focusing on ourselves and all the hustle and bustle, and we got to have this done, and we got to make sure this is done. But at the end of the day, nothing has to be done. It's a time of year to reflect on something bigger than yourself. But somehow we bring it down. We bring the magic.
Maybe it's because we're afraid to reflect on ourselves.
So we want to stay busy.
So we want to stay busy because the magic in the air is the belief in ourselves.
And it's resting in the belief in ourselves.
And it's resting in the belief in ourselves. And it's looking at that star, the true north, the North Star, okay, because that's our compass. We always know, right? Which is the purpose of who we are, what we were created to be. And becoming a better version of who we are can be so painful that we want to get caught up in the hustle and the bustle of what this time comes instead of just stopping and reflecting.
Are we scared to look at who we are?
That could definitely be the reason why we want to stay busy. Because see, if I'm constantly busy, I don't need to take a time to look at who I am. But where I am, there I am. So whenever I look at myself, I can't escape myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes, James, as we're busy with the hustle and bustle, because we have all these traditions and we have all this finding the perfect gift, okay, throughout the year, tragedy strikes and we may lose someone. And so this time of year is really painful. And because of our sadness, because of our pain, it makes us slow down. But now we kind of feel like something's wrong with me because I'm not like everyone else. I'm not jolly. I'm not out there buying. I don't have the energy to go out and buy the gift. Or perhaps I don't have someone to buy a gift for. So now I'm not reflecting. Again, I'm not reflecting in the magic of the season. I'm still reflecting. But it did make me slow down. It did make me sit back. But now I'm reflecting on, again, the expectations and how I can't measure up to those expectations.
And we're definitely empathetic when we do have loss, because I know a lot of people have lost people through this time. There have been people that couldn't even get together. They had to do Zoom because of COVID. Things have totally changed. It's totally different. How do we adapt to them?
And see, James, I don't think the word, that's what I'm trying to say.
I use the word
we
perfectly.
don't adapt.
Really?
We don't adapt.
Because that's what our tendency is. We want to adapt to it.
Well, exactly, so that we can fit back in to what everyone else is doing.
Or is it our little box that we have our view of Christmas? Not only about, some of it's about other people, but it's also our own little box, and goes back to boxing the magic.
Exactly, boxing the magic. It's our expectation of what Christmas should be. Where give yourself permission. If you have experienced a tremendous amount of loss, give yourself permission to feel that sadness. Give yourself permission to feel that loss.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
And take the time to reflect.
Beautiful.
Because that's the magic of this time of year is take the time to reflect.
That's beautiful.
You don't have to stay here. Your story's not done. Your story's not done.
It's a new normal, though.
It's a new normal, but see, a new normal can be a good thing. It can be a good thing.
But at the time, it doesn't feel
it doesn't feel like it. I would totally agree with that. But the truth of it is, once we take the time to really feel our sadness, we really embrace it. We really feel that loss.
So instead of adapting to the new normal,
embrace it.
Embrace the new normal. Mm-hmm. Wow, how does that work?
Okay, when we adapt, we're still going against the current. We're still trying to go against it.
We're trying to put it in a box.
We're trying to grasp it and put it in a box so that we can just, instead of embracing it, acceptance. This is my new normal. Okay, it doesn't mean that you are done grieving. You're never done grieving. But this is my new normal. And I'm going to embrace my sadness, which sadness is loss. When you embrace your sadness, when you truly embrace it, you're going to get the gift of sadness. Every emotion gives us a gift. And the gift is sensitivity. Sensitivity, what does that mean? That means that the better version of you, you're going to be more sensitive to others around you. You're going to be the better version of you, okay? The new normal doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be a prison. It doesn't need to be a prison. If you embrace it and you truly accept it, then you can start looking at, okay, what does this look like?
Well, if I don't have the big Christmas tree up, I don't have the emotional energy to put the big Christmas tree up.
Who says you have to put up a big Christmas tree?
So I give myself permission to put a small Christmas tree up. What if
or
I
no
don't,
Christmas tree at all?
What if I don't want to put a Christmas tree up?
Give
Is that
yourself,
wrong?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Who is it to define that that's wrong? Nobody is to define that that's wrong, right? That's you. If you don't have the energy.
But I did it every year, and I would do all these things, and I don't have the energy to do it.
Give yourself permission not to. Instead of taking the energy to put up that Christmas tree and force yourself to put something up that you're not feeling, it's not who you are, take that energy and embrace your new normal. And what does that mean? What does that see? What do you see moving forward? How do you see? And possibly right now you don't see anything moving forward, and that's okay.
Well, and you don't even want Christmas. So the tendency would be just the heck, it's just another holiday. I just rather drink and say the heck with it.
You're missing an opportunity.
Oh.
And the opportunity is
because you can't adapt, and it's not going to be it ain't going to be the way it was.
Exactly. You can't go back to what it used to be.
No.
But you can write the story to what it's going to be.
Boy, that's extremely hard.
It is. I would totally agree with that.
Because it's easy just to yell at everybody else.
It's easy to pick up that bottle and drain yourself.
Yeah.
Drown your sorrows in the bottle. That's easy.
And looking at the other people having their kid. Let's say you lost a child. They have Christmas programs at church, and the parents are celebrating them. You don't have anybody. You lost your daughter. Mm-hmm. They have no idea what it means.
And they don't. That's a true
and
statement.
they're worried about that Jane is looking perfect. Yeah, you know what? I don't have a Jane to make perfect.
You're going to look through life. You look at life completely different now.
Yeah.
You look at life. Again, what they looked at as, quote, Jane being perfect, okay, to you, doesn't matter anymore.
No.
Because you would just love to have Jane.
Exactly. Why do you waste all the time, all that dress rehearsal and all this? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right?
My point exactly. While you had Jane, you were in that box, and you missed the magic of the reflection. Who are you today? Where do you want to be? The belief in something greater than yourself.
So Christmas, it doesn't have to change.
Christmas never changed.
It's
We changed.
a constant. Yeah.
We changed. It's kind of like you could go sit at a river, and you might have sat at that river multiple times. Okay, you might have sat that river multiple times, but the one day you're coming to that river and you're crying. You're feeling a tremendous amount of sadness, and as you look at that water, you see how that water flows over the rocks, and it's like your tears flowing down from your eyes. And you never noticed that before. But that river was flowing like that at all times. It's just now you have different lenses. Because of your experience, you have different lenses. It's kind of like when you go to a movie theater and you see a 3D movie theater, right? Where the movie's in 3D. Mm-hmm. If you have, and they give you a pair of glasses, okay? So when you just go in there and say, I don't need those glasses. So you have the people beside you, they're sitting there, they're saying, whoa, man, everything is popping at them. You can't see it. Once you put on those glasses, everything pops out. That's what this is. This Christmas never changed.
You chose
the magic has always been there. The magic has always been there. It's the belief in yourself. It's being something greater than yourself. It's basically reflecting on yourself and saying, you know what is my true north? Where am I headed? What is my purpose? What was I created for? And how am I making steps to going to that? So that I can look at myself 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Because the story doesn't end. The story doesn't end. Just because today you're sitting here in sadness doesn't mean that this is where your story ends. Doesn't mean this is your story ends. But you finally put on you have different lenses.
And probably the first year after losing a loved one, you really can't put the glasses on.
No, you can't.
It's not realistic.
No.
But you can put something on, but you're not going to be able to put the glasses on.
And see, James, you're not going to be able to put those glasses on you're not going to feel it the first year or the second year or the third year if you don't embrace your new normal, if you don't give yourself permission to really feel the sadness. Don't give yourself permission to really feel the sadness. Next year it's going to come again, and the following year again and again. And it's not saying that it's not going to come up again as you embrace it. But it's not going to be as powerful. You're going to be able to...
It's not going to paralyze you.
Exactly, because you're going to be able to see the magic with each year that you go into this You're going to be able to see the magic because exactly, you can't go back. You can never go back. However, you can move forward. And your new normal, you can either adapt to it, which is still trying to control it and put it in a little box, or you can embrace it and say, how is this where does this take me today? I'm going to put on those lenses and I'm going to see things in a different light.
And people will never understand around you.
No.
Unless they experience it themselves. And even if they experience it themselves, they may deal with it differently than you will.
It's exactly true. Because again, everybody experiences, that's what's so great about us. We're all unique. We're all different people. And so we can all have the same experience, but experience it differently.
Yes.
We can all see the same thing, but we're going to see it differently, which is so great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually great.
But somehow we expect them. If we're not willing to embrace and just adapt, I got this, or whatever we do, or we start throwing darts at exactly what I said earlier, why are they so worried about this? Mm-hmm. We become having a judgmental spirit, and believe me, I'm very empathetic when I say this, but it really is a judgmental spirit. They should be at the same place I am.
James, I would agree with what
when I don't accept, I'm talking for myself, I'm not talking about anybody else, but for myself, if I don't, what I have a tendency to do, and that's probably where I should clarify, I have a tendency, if I don't accept the cup in front of me, it's easy for me to judge others. They don't understand where I'm at, and I become very critical.
And see, I would agree it's a judgmental, but it really goes one step farther.
Okay.
They have power over you because you need them to be where you're at so you can feel good about yourself. So you can give yourself permission to be where you're at.
So I end up submitting to them.
So you end up, exactly. You're going to be saying, well, they're being fickle. They're being this here. Or, they don't understand where I'm at. So you spend all that time focusing on them versus giving yourself permission to be where you're at.
They become the ghosts.
They become the ghosts. There you go.
So it's never about them.
It's never about them.
But
it's never about them.
It's never about the people around you. They don't understand.
Well, they don't understand, and they can't identify. That's a true statement because, again, you have to go through it in order to understand it. But here's the thing, okay? We can't actually heal. We can't actually start healing if we're constantly looking at others and saying, we need them to be where we're at so that we can move forward. We're giving them tremendous amount of power. We have the power ourselves to keep moving forward by truly embracing what we have in front of us, by embracing.
We want the wheel to stop. When we have loss, we want the wheel of life to stop. And we want everybody else around us to stop.
We do.
It's underneath expectations where we're not coming.
It's a human expectation.
Exactly.
It really is. There's nothing wrong with you at all when you have that.
No.
Because the truth of it is your world stops.
Again, we're giving you permission.
When you have lost someone, your world does stop.
Yeah.
Your world does stop. And so now you feel like you're running to catch up to others. So you want them to stop so that you can catch up.
Yeah. We're giving you, and that's another thing when we talk about permission, we're giving you permission. You're giving yourself permission to feel everything.
Exactly.
Even how fickle it feels. Even if it is judgmental.
Exactly.
You're okay. Mm-hmm. We're not, it is selfish. Yes. But again, who wouldn't be?
That's exactly true. That's exactly true. We're giving you permission.
That's why I first took it on myself first.
Yes.
But now I'm pushing it. Who wouldn't be?
Exactly true.
There's normal feeling.
It's a normal, exactly. Give yourself permission to go through all that. Because out of that, you're going to be able to feel. Once you feel everything, ugly, judgmental, whatever, out of that, you're going to be able to see where are you headed. What is your new normal? What is your story looking like? Because your story is not done.
No.
Your story is not done.
No.
And so what does that look like? Well, you're not going to be able to see what that looks like until you truly embrace your sadness. embrace your anger. Embrace your hurt. Truly embrace that and allow yourself to go there. Then you're going to be able to see what your story looks like moving forward.
And also, at the time, have realistic expectations of where you're at.
Okay, James, what do you mean by realistic?
I mean, notice I use the word expectation.
I did see that, but what do you mean by realistic expectations?
You may not be able to put the big Christmas tree up.
That's okay.
That's all right. Mm-hmm. You may feel judging everybody around you in the Christmas program. That's realistic.
That's okay.
That's okay. Mm-hmm. Give yourself permission, even to isolate. You may not want to go to that family reunion.
Exactly.
Because it's going to bring out a lot of pain. Doesn't mean exactly what you're saying. You're going to stay there next year and the following year and the following year. Nobody knows. But for it is a step-by-step journey.
It is.
To unlock the magic of Christmas.
Yep.
But it's not going to happen overnight. And the quicker, and I don't like the word quicker, but the pathway, the healing is what I like, a better word, is continue to embrace. Continue to, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're not supposed to heal tomorrow.
No.
But continue to move. In a marathon, you continue to move.
Each step. Mm-hmm.
Don't stop moving.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how big the step is. It's not a sprint.
Yes.
Again, we talk about marathon life.
Exactly.
As long as you're moving in the direction and you're embracing it, the magic, you'll be able to pick up the glasses again.
You will, and then the great thing...
Matter of fact, those glasses... Yeah, go
ahead.
I'll let you go.
But the great thing about the magic, this is the most magical time of the year. The great thing about it is if you get the magic, it carries into the next year.
And the greatest thing about the magic is when we go through these, you'll have the best Christmas. The magic really intensifies. Mm-hmm. You'll have a total different Christmas. It's not going to be the same one.
No.
But it's going to come. You're going to come through with a richness. When we go through pain, and I definitely empathize everybody.
Absolutely.
I want to say, and I don't like saying this because we want to get but I'm going to say it because I've experienced and I've been there. When we go through pain, the experience life becomes more. The glasses become more alive, mm-hmm. and you'll impact in ways you'll never ever imagine, and you'll have purpose, and that goes back to the magic. The more pain we go through, the more North Star we're able to experience.
So that's true, James. And I'm going to talk about the ruby, okay? The ruby, in order to get its shine, has to go through fire, 500-degree fire twice in order to get its shine. So that's the thing. This Christmas, the magic in the air, everything like that, if you're not feeling it, that's okay. You're just getting your shine. You're just getting your shine. Embrace it. Embrace it. And you're not alone. And you're not different. You're just getting your shine.
And you are angry. You can be angry. Again.
You have the permission to be. Again, anger is information we get from anger is violation. We've been violated.
Well, I know for myself personally, one of the greatest losses is outliving your children and mm-hmm. lose a loved one or a child over Christmas. That doesn't say losing a spouse over Christmas is any different.
No.
I'm just talking from my own personal. So for my own personal thing, it's an injustice. You feel it so much.
Well, it's even losing a loved one because you see everybody else around you, everybody else still has their loved ones, and how is it that you don't? That's an injustice.
To lose grandmother over Christmas if there was a deep relationship. To lose anybody, to any type of loss. And only reason I shared mine is my injustice. I feel a tremendous amount of injustice. You should never outlive your child. Mm-hmm. To lose your spouse, to lose grandma. It feels unjust.
Yep.
Exactly what you said, Nancy. Everything's an injustice when it comes to grief. It shouldn't happen. It was not in our timing.
No.
And that's where give yourself permission to feel them.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell from my own personal experience, Christmas it's not the same. But we talked earlier about empathy. I have more of a sensitivity and empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And I also look at families. Now I look at that play that the families are going through, and they're making sure Jane is looking really good. I really can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching families today have the Christmas pageants or whatever they are. It's really neat to sit across the table and see them celebrate their children. There's something about when you cleanse, you're actually happy for the people.
Mm-hmm.
In a joyous way, not in a happy way.
No.
There's a tremendous amount of joy that you see that they're experiencing, and that you can't describe.
Well, because it comes exactly what you said earlier, James. It comes because you now have a new richness about yourself.
Yes.
Christmas is no longer just a holiday. Christmas is the most magical time of the year.
It is. The Christmas concerts, the family getting together, the talks afterwards, where the families talk after they take their daughter home or son from the Christmas program, and they talk afterwards. It's so magic. And it becomes, and that's why I say the North Star becomes really alive, and you really start seeing the magic. But you have to, first of all, give your permission at the starting point.
To cleanse, yep.
The people around you are not going to change. Christmas is not going to change.
Mm-mm.
The world's not going to stop.
No.
And we're definitely not saying that from being a harsh piece. It's not going to stop. The thing is, you need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You need to not get that bigger Christmas, or whatever that is, whatever that means, whatever those feelings, it's going to stop for you in some ways. It's going to feel that way. But you're going to continue you're going to move a lot slower.
And that's perfectly fine.
Give yourself permission. When you do that, it's amazing how other people will give you permission. Some people may not. But
and that's okay.
We do live in a narcissistic world, right?
That is true, but that's absolutely okay. But again, the Christmas is the lens you put on.
Yeah.
And it starts with cleansing, because your story doesn't end today.
It doesn't end. That's the greatest thing.
It doesn't end.
As we end this conversation, we want an audience. Your story does not end.
No,
it's still being told.
It's still being told, and also, what the really heart of this message is, James, is the magic is within you. Take the time to reflect to find it, because it is within you. It's there.
It is, in spite of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Or people, or whatever they may be.
Yes, exactly.
Well, this is our Merry Christmas to our audience. Yeah.
Yes, it is. This is our last podcast for this year. And so our next podcast will be next year, which sounds so far away.
It is far away.
But it's only a few weeks.
Oh.
Actually, it's only a few weeks. So with that, I definitely want to wish everyone happy holidays, and definitely want to say, be you. Yeah. Give yourself permission to be you.
Yes. And I can't say it any better, Nancy. A blessed Christmas to everyone.